How did Vladimir Putin's ascent to power shape Russia's international relations? It's a question that deserves deep exploration. Vladimir Putin, a figure synonymous with Russia's political landscape for over 2 decades, did not rise to power in a vacuum. His ascent was shaped by the political climate he inherited from his predecessor, Boris Yeltsin. The late 90s were a time of immense upheaval for Russia, with economic instability and political uncertainty creating a ripe environment for a new kind of leadership. Enter Putin, a former KGB officer with a vision for a stronger, more assertive Russia. His initial goals were clear: stabilize the economy, consolidate power, and restore Russia's standing in the world. These objectives were not just about domestic reform, they were intrinsically linked to how Putin would navigate the complex world of international relations. Under Yeltsin, Russia had seen a significant decrease in its global influence. The collapse of the Soviet Union had left a power vacuum, and the West, particularly the United States, had stepped in to fill that void. Putin, however, had different plans. He believed in a Russia that could stand toe-to-toe with the West, a Russia that could reclaim its status as a global power. This belief shaped Putin's approach to international relations. He sought to strengthen ties with neighboring countries, particularly those that had been part of the former Soviet Union. He also sought to challenge the unipolar world order dominated by the United States, advocating instead for a multipolar world where power was more evenly distributed. While Putin's tactics have been controversial, there's no denying the impact he's had. Russia, under his leadership, has become a significant player in international affairs, influencing events far beyond its borders. From the war in Syria to the annexation of Crimea, Putin's Russia has made its presence felt on the global stage. Putin's entry into power marked a turning point for Russia on the international stage. And as we delve deeper into this topic, we'll see just how profound that turning point was. Under Putin's leadership, Russia sought to improve relations with its neighboring countries, a move that had significant implications. A central strategy Putin adopted was to leverage Russia's economic capacity. He pursued strategic partnerships with countries rich in natural resources, like Kazakhstan, and those with significant economic potential, like China. This was not only about economics, but also about geopolitics. By strengthening these ties, Putin sought to create a buffer zone of friendly nations around Russia. In the case of Belarus, Russia's relationship was more complex. The Belarusian leader, Alexander Lukashenko, was seen as Putin's close ally, with Belarus playing a significant role in supporting Russia's military efforts. Despite criticism from the West and sanctions, this relationship persisted, underlining Russia's strategic approach to maintaining influence in its immediate neighborhood. On the other hand, Putin's approach to countries like Ukraine was a mix of diplomatic engagement and assertive action. Despite the ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine, Russia continued to engage in diplomatic discussions, underscoring Putin's complex approach to neighboring relations. Furthermore, Russia under Putin played a crucial role in regional organizations like the Commonwealth of Independent States and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. These platforms allowed Russia to develop multilateral relationships and solidify its influence in the region. However, it's important to note that these strategies weren't without controversy. Critics argued that Putin's approach was more about control and influence than genuine partnership. Still, there's no denying that under Putin, Russia's relationships with its neighbors became a central pillar of its international strategy. These improved relations allowed Russia to expand its influence in the region and solidify its role as a major player. Putin's Russia didn't just focus on its neighbors, it also advocated for a multipolar world order. But what does that mean? In the realm of international relations, a multipolar world order refers to a global system where power is distributed among various nations rather than being concentrated in the hands of a single superpower or a small group of countries. It's a vision of the world where balance and parity take precedence over hegemony. So why did Putin's Russia champion this idea? The answer lies in their desire for a fair and equitable global stage. A multipolar world order allows Russia to exercise its influence without being overshadowed by more dominant powers. It's a chance for Russia to assert its interests and values and to engage in international affairs on its own terms. Under Putin's leadership, Russia didn't just passively endorse the concept of a multipolar world order, it actively advocated for it. Through diplomatic channels and international forums, Russia expressed its belief in a world where all nations, big or small, have a say in shaping global policies. But what does this mean for global politics? It implies a shift in power dynamics. A move towards a multipolar world order means a move away from unilateral decision-making and towards a more inclusive and democratic process. It encourages dialogue, negotiation, and cooperation among nations, promoting a sense of global community. However, this stance also comes with its challenges. With multiple powers vying for influence, conflicts of interest are inevitable. It requires delicate diplomacy and strategic maneuvering to navigate such a complex global landscape. Yet, Russia under Putin has shown that it's up for the challenge. By championing a multipolar world order, Putin's Russia has not only asserted its own role in global politics, but has also encouraged other nations to do the same. This stance has allowed Russia to carve out a unique position in the international arena, one that respects diversity and values dialogue. Putin's advocacy for a multipolar world order shifted the dynamics of global politics, further cementing Russia's international influence. Russia's influence wasn't limited to its immediate neighbors or global power structures. Under Putin, it sought to play a significant role in international affairs beyond its borders. The world has watched as Russia, under Putin's leadership, has been actively involved in various international scenarios. These instances, some of which have been controversial, have underscored Russia's desire to assert its influence globally. Let's take a look at a few examples. In Syria, for instance, Russia has been a key player since the civil war began in 2011. The Kremlin's military intervention in 2015 not only altered the course of the war, but also reinforced Russia's strategic interests in the Middle East. Then we have the situation in Ukraine. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 was a bold demonstration of Russia's assertiveness on the world stage. More recently, Russia's support for separatist movements in eastern Ukraine has further complicated the region's political landscape. In addition to these geopolitical maneuvers, Russia has also been involved in other forms of international engagement. This includes strategic partnerships with countries like China and India, as well as participation in international bodies such as the United Nations and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. However, Russia's involvement in international affairs has not been without consequences. Western sanctions in response to the annexation of Crimea, for example, have significantly impacted the Russian economy. Similarly, Russia's role in the Syrian conflict has drawn international criticism and strained relations with several Western countries. Yet, despite these challenges, Russia under Putin has remained steadfast in its global ambitions. Whether it's in the Middle East, Eastern Europe, or elsewhere, Russia's involvement in international affairs has been characterized by a determined pursuit of its national interests. These actions have further emphasized Russia's desire to be a key player on the international stage. Putin's leadership has undeniably had a profound impact on Russia's international relations. His ascension to power marked a turning point in Russia's history, a time when the nation's international strategy began to take a new form. Under Putin, Russia has sought to strengthen its ties with neighboring countries. The goal was to foster relationships that are mutually beneficial and based on respect for sovereignty. This approach has been seen in relationships with nations such as Belarus, where Russia has been a supportive ally even amidst international criticism. Putin's era also saw Russia advocating for a multipolar world order. This is a vision of a world where power is not dominated by one or two nations, but instead is dispersed among multiple influential countries. This perspective has been a guiding principle in Russia's international policy, and it's clear that Putin's leadership has played a significant role in promoting this view. Beyond its borders, Russia has also asserted itself as a significant player in international affairs. This has been evident in various geopolitical situations, where Russia's influence and involvement have been keenly felt. From the conflict in Ukraine to the dynamics of energy politics, Russia has shown a willingness to engage actively on the global stage. In sum, Putin's leadership has shaped Russia's international relations in profound ways. His rise to power, the improved relations with neighboring countries, the advocacy for a multipolar world order, and the crucial role Russia has played in international affairs are all testaments to this. As we continue to watch Russia's evolving role on the global stage, we must remember the critical influence of Putin's leadership on its international strategy.